Hi, my name is Urmila Chanam. I am the founder and CEO of Breaking the Silence Worldwide Foundation, a non-profit based in Bengaluru which works on menstrual hygiene management, women empowerment, digital inclusion of girls and women in order to expedite gender equality. I thank Swati Bedikar and Vatsalya Foundation, Vadodara, for inviting me to speak on International Menstrual Hygiene Day webinar and a very important subject of changing MHM scene in developing countries. And I would like to speak from my experience and observation of being a grassroots worker since 2012. Now, the menstrual hygiene management problem statement in India has got five key issues to deal with. The first being the stigma, the culture of shame and silence, the kind of misconceptions, malpractices, and superstitions which are prevalent in differing degrees across India. This is the biggest concern, and Breaking the Silence works in this area of social behavior change through sensitization and awareness building of the entire community, including men, boys, girls, women, fathers, mothers, everyone. The second problem is the lack of support, and the lack of support coming from the family, from the society at large, as a result of which adolescent girls enter puberty with absolutely no information, and they are left to fend for themselves. Later on in their life, when they are in college, they get married, or they are professional, they find the way, but many years have passed by then. And in this time, they suffer, they don't have the right product, they don't have the right care, and they don't have peace of mind, all because of lack of information that stems out of no support. The third issue in India is the lack of access to sanitary care products. And I talk about the basket of products, all the products. Girls and women don't have access to it adequately. Now, for women and girls in urban and in town and cities, it's not a problem. They must be wondering what we are talking about. But as a grassroots worker, I have seen women who have never seen a pad other than the advertisement in newspaper, magazines, and television. So that is the condition. There are different data emerging about what is the percentage of girls and women in India who are using sanitary pads, but I won't get into it. The fourth problem is the lack of access to water and toilets. And because of this problem, a few years back, India was one of the leading countries with open defecation, and the government worked on war footing to build toilets through the Swachh Bharat Mission program. Now those toilets have been built. The question is, are girls and women able to access those toilets? Are those toilets constructed and designed in a manner which fulfills their needs during menstruation? There are many people in North India, I have noticed in the villages, they don't use the toilets that Swachh Bharat has constructed for them. Because in their custom, inside the house where they have a mandir and they worship the god, how can there be something as polluted as a toilet? So the toilet is locked and kept. So in that situation, we are assuming that government has built the toilets and the situation of menstruators would have improved. How does it improve? It doesn't. So we have to work on that area as well. The last but not the least issue is the lack of safe disposal facilities available to menstruators. Do we have dustbins? Are these dustbins being cleared and taken by solid waste management processes? Are they being incinerated? Now they say incineration is not the right way. Are they being buried? Are they being composted? Who is thinking about that? So this is the problem associated with menstrual hygiene management in developing countries, in particularly in India. I've also worked in Africa, and I find that this is very relevant even there. Now, there have been many initiatives which have been taken in the last decade when this movement of menstrual hygiene management really picked up in India. And I remember the efforts of Wash United, Ina Jurga, Thorsten, of WSSC, Geneva, Archana Patkar, Maria Fernandez, and these pioneers who led this movement in India way back in 2011-2012. Since then, a lot has happened. The government in few states has started a program where the Panchayati Raj department or other departments of the state manufacture low-cost sanitary pads and market them and distribute them through their channels. They even distribute it for free for girls studying in government schools. This has brought a big relief to those who could not afford or access it. I've seen it in Uttar Pradesh, in Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, now it started in Manipur, and many other states. The second initiative was the whole advocacy and movement to remove tax from sanitary care products. The third was the Sabarimala movement, where young women and women rights activists challenged this norm of not allowing girls and women and menstruators inside temple. Irrespective of what is the judgment of that case, I believe it was a very big milestone in this menstrual hygiene management journey. We also are talking about menstrual leaves. Like in Spain, they're going to have 3 days leaves, up to 5 days leaves. So we're talking about that in India. In fact, some private companies have already started giving leave for women who are menstruating and experience pain or discomfort. But the biggest movement I find is the solid waste management concern that the sanitary care products waste generated is a threat to the environment, is a big burden to the environment, because it is landing in landfills and not enough techniques and effort is being made to recycle it, to compost it, and everything is being dumped in the landfills. The segregation of sanitary pads from other household waste is not being done by families, because of which the municipal corporations, the local bodies are unable to process it. So there is a lot of responsibility that citizens have to take if these things have to work out in the long run. Eco-friendly sanitary pads, reusables like menstrual cups and cloth-based sanitary pads have also been manufactured, and they are being promoted as sustainable menstruation, something that is good for the environment and good for the people. This is what has happened in the last few years. At Breaking the Silence Worldwide Foundation, we also have a social media campaign which we have done for 9 years and which received the UNFPA National Lardli Media Advertising Awards for gender sensitivity for being the best social media campaign of 2015. And our guiding principle is to bring social behavior change through awareness. Because the underlying factor of all these issues related to menstrual hygiene is related to gender inequality. If we pursue menstrual hygiene management through water and sanitation, wash, or through solid waste management and disposal, or through women's livelihood and manufacturing of pads, we may achieve availability and accessibility of pads. We may achieve accessibility and availability of toilets and disposal of pads. But who is going to address the gender inequality and the way that girls and women are being treated during their menstruation? Why is there not sufficient initiative, deliberation on this aspect? My recommendation and suggestion is, let us not push the environment hazard from menstrual waste as the only narrative. Because in India, there is a trend that we push all the blame of what happens to girls and women. Let it be rape, let it be a crime committed by a man. It is blamed on his mother and his upbringing. The rape on the attire of the girl and the time that she was out and what she was doing. We are doing the same in menstrual hygiene management by harping about the waste which is being generated from sanitary pads. Tell me one thing, is the solid waste management problem only because of the menstrual waste generated by women? The answer is no. I know many women who have not seen their first pad, like I told you in the beginning of my message. By pushing the guilt and responsibility on women alone, you are delaying her right to access to clean, hygienic absorbent during her menstruation. At the same time, I do not dismiss the environment perspective at all. If the government and the players are serious about it, let us have a legislation that it is mandatory that 50% of the market is dominated by eco-friendly, biodegradable and reusable products, so that the manufacture is stepped up, the costs are decreased, affordable, and the distribution is at par with other products. And then let us leave the choice to the woman. Second thing, let us have the manufacturers and producers of disposable sanitary pads accountable for the waste which is being generated. Where is their involvement in solid waste management? They have the resource, they have the technology, they have the ability and the capacity to be an important stakeholder in solid waste management. Let us look at them and not just women. I also wanted to share that we need to really make sure that the biodegradable products are biodegradable and eco-friendly in all contexts and not just in the perfect laboratory conditions. Because they are so expensive, it is not possible for women from lowest economic strata and from rural places to be able to afford them. So these are things that I really wanted to discuss. Last but not the least, I would like to suggest that we approach menstrual hygiene management to address the larger evil of gender inequality in our society. Let us focus on awareness on the biological significance of menstruation, and let that serve to dispel the misconceptions and superstitions which are existing. Let us push for a law where isolation of menstruators is illegal. Let us ensure that the basket of products are available, accessible, and affordable at every level, not just in metro cities. Let us have solid waste management programs in place, making sure the manufacturers of sanitary pads are accountable for the waste generated and not just women. And then we will be able to achieve the 2022 theme for International Menstrual Hygiene Day. We are committed to make menstruation a part of a normal life by 2030. This is Urmila Chanam signing off from Bengaluru. Have a great day and चुप्पी तोड़ो, महावारी स्वच्छता प्रबंधन के बारे में बोलो.